Which is the very best e-ink device you can buy right now? It's got to be between these two, right? The Tab X or the Tab Ultra C. E-ink tablets, they tend to have amazing battery life and they are so easy on the eyes, as easy as paper. The problem for some time now though has been that e-ink is considered slow. The whole screen needs to be refreshed every time something changes. Well, e-ink tablets have got around that by using more local refreshing. And many companies have got it to the point where these excellent Wacom EMR styluses have latency below 20 milliseconds, which you really do struggle to notice that when you're just writing naturally. But when they bypass the global refreshes, they have struggled with the issue of image retention, or ghosting as is often known. But watch closely. Can you see that? Did you see what it did there? Yeah, that's right. Boox have found a way to give you both things at once, a fast refresh mode and a clear image. It clears up the white areas and the blocks of color without affecting the whole of the screen. This is game changing for e-ink tablets, and honestly, one of the largest downsides of e-ink tablets has been solved. But have they done so at the cost of one of the biggest benefits of e-ink? So I said that the Tab Ultra was the best e-ink tablet when it came out. This is the Tab Ultra. It's the black and white version of the Tab Ultra C. It was a different format, and Boox were marketing it as a tablet PC. Many of us are waiting for Boox to make a Windows machine, but for now, what that marketing language translates to is that the Tab Ultra was capable of actually being usable for just about every Android app. And this includes Office or productivity apps. This is the black and white version of the Tab Ultra, and this is the Tab Ultra C. Very similar devices, except for the color screen. I think you get ever such a slight faster latency with the Tab Ultra, but both of them have amazing low latency. So when the Tab Ultra came out, it was the best. But then the Tab X came out, and immediately I compared it with the Max Lumi, which is the previous generation of 13.3-inch e-ink tablets. I mean, these things are huge. Their screens are pretty much the same size as A4 paper or letter-size paper. And the conclusion was that they're both brilliant, that the Tab X was just an iteration, just an improvement on the already fantastic Max Lumi 1 that I had to compare. And it really showed how far ahead of the competition that Boox really is. And then the Tab Ultra C arrived, and for many people it became the pinnacle of what an e-ink tablet has to offer. It brought 300 dots per inch in black and white, and is capable of displaying 256 colors, all at 150 dpi. I'm converted, and so have been so many reviewers who previously had disregarded e-ink altogether, and certainly had disregarded color e-ink. And honestly, my only issue at the moment is that I can't use it all of the time because I'm often testing out other devices. Images look good, apps designed for LCD and OLED, they look good as well. Standard Android apps that are designed for LCD and OLED, they use color to distinguish between a lot of the buttons and panels. So suddenly these were a lot more usable. And sure, photos and videos do look way better on OLED, but it's just fine for reading the news or reading magazines. It gives you something of a newsprint type of look, which is actually quite pleasant. Some people said it almost looks like the magic papers, the moving images in Harry Potter on the newspapers. E-ink is trending up right now as so many professionals realize that they have a space in their lives for one more digital device. And that when they start using an e-ink tablet, it doesn't just become a little help or a plaything, but it becomes something indispensable, something that they cannot look back from. I'm definitely at that point with an e-ink tablet. I can't go back. And honestly, just about any of the e-ink tablets that I've used would suffice, would fill that gap in my tech bag. Even big name tech YouTubers like Aaron from Mr. Who This The Boss is a real convert to Remarkable. And he's someone who likes the best in bleeding edge tech, which for a long time has been which can be the biggest, the brightest OLED screen. Even he is liking the Remarkable because it's something that can only do so many things, and so you only do so many things on it. It's your place to write your notes, and just that. But then many of us became addicts of the e-ink screen experience, and we want to do more. And so the natural progression is an e-ink tablet which lets you use whichever app you want. Boox devices are leaders in this category, with the Note Air 2 being the first place that you truly felt you could do a good enough job of tablet type tasks like browsing or accessing cloud files. The problem was that the screen ghosting made it unusable for some apps. you had the choice between slow and clear or fast with lots of image degradation. It's really not until you see them side by side that you really see how much of an improvement we've got now with the Tab Ultra series. This is in its speed mode, so let's go to its very fastest mode. This does move quite quickly, but you can see that image degradation there. And you notice how in this white space here, we've still got the ghost of the previous image. It's in its fastest mode on this side. And you can see the way that ghost of that same image just clears up immediately I move the thing. Same it is with the photo here as well, with the block of color space. It just tidies everything up and it looks fantastic. You can make it look good here on here again, and you can hit the refresh whenever you want, but wow, you can see there's such a big difference. In this normal mode, you can see it does a whole screen refresh more regularly to tidy things up. And here, the equivalent to normal mode is the balance mode, and you can just see the way it clears things up afterwards. It's really very clever. It's night and day at the moment. So on these latest Eink devices from Boox, the Tab series, they actually use their GPUs, the graphics processing unit, to actually clean up the image without having to do that full page refresh. And this means that for far more of the time, you're enjoying crisp graphics and text. And this is a battle for the top spot between two Boox devices. I'm going to do a bit of a breakdown, but one place that an Eink tablet is most certainly at home is in a meeting. Both the Boox Tab Ultra and the Tab X are great in meetings, like the IPEVO Totem 360, 180, and 120, which cover all the angles that are in their names. And whilst I'm telling you about IPEVO, you can have a closer look at how the Tab Ultra C performs, browsing the internet and running different apps through the IPEVO Totem 120. Thanks so much to IPEVO for sponsoring this video. Perhaps you've been in a hybrid meeting and you've had that awkward moment where you're having to turn a laptop around to point it at whoever's speaking. Perhaps you have a meeting camera for your conference room, but it's a pain to set up and it keeps disconnecting. Perhaps relying on one microphone in your laptop is making group meetings a disjointed and unnatural experience. Perhaps the cost of boardroom cameras has actually stopped you buying one. Well, IPEVO have sponsored me to tell you about their new Totem range of meeting room cameras. They can make an immersive meeting room environment, and they can keep single or multiple people in view and intelligently cover the whole of a small or medium-sized meeting room. Bring the team together in seconds with plug and play into a single USB port with no need to install software. The microphones are quality and they include built-in noise reduction. It's amazing how little reverb you get even in a large space. And best of all, they do this at an excellent price. Check out the links in the description for my videos demonstrating their products and links to the products on the IPEVO website. So did you see that? Chrome looks really good, right? The only problem now is that graphics processor is very energy hungry, and so the battery life is much shorter here than in the previous generation of Boox devices, despite the batteries being a lot bigger. So don't just look at the battery size in any list of specifications, because different devices do use that battery in different ways. Firstly, which is better in a meeting? Well, at first glance, it's probably going to be the larger device here. Real estate could be really useful in capturing notes. You could have a notes page on one half of the screen, and you could have a reference page on the other half of the screen. That could be a very useful thing in the meeting. Both have the ability to use microphones, which you could use in conjunction with an app like Otter AI to actually capture your meeting minutes and transcribe them live. Or of course, you can just use the onboard voice typing within the Boox keyboard, which is actually really quite accurate. Does it do a better job compared to Otter? Capture your meeting minutes and transcribe them live. It's pretty good. You can do that on both of them. So you could actually very easily keep a set of notes and actions that you make within the meeting. And both can share the screen to Miracast and use the full Android version of PowerPoint. And you can use full presenter view when you present, and you can make annotations as you go. But I probably think that it is just the Tab Ultra C which wins out for meetings, because even though you can use voice typing and things like this, you'll probably be wanting to use the keyboard to make those edits to the notes that you are capturing. And I do hope that we get a 13.3 inch with a keyboard case soon from Boox. You'd think that the Tab X would be easily better for art. The Tab Ultra was the first of the Boox devices to use tilt with the Wacom pen. The Tab X has that A4 size drawing canvas. It does have auto rotate, but it's off at the minute. So I've rated this a 9 for art now, but the Tab Ultra C of course brings color, so I've rated it a 9 for art as well. What does a 10 look like? Probably once they've gone ahead and given us a full drawing app, that would be a 10. It's actually something that I drew on the Tab Mini C. Made a video about that recently, but it looks right at home here on the Tab Ultra C as well. A 10 would probably be something of that size, where there actually is a dedicated drawing app where we can actually use any color that we wish. Looks really smart on there, right? The Tab X doesn't really make much of an improvement for reading PDFs over the Lumi 2, for academic reading at least. They're both a 9. But for reading directly on the web, it's a little bit different. It's a little better because of the way it clears up the white space. Who knows really what a 10 looks like for reading? Maybe if we could eventually get this kind of performance in a package that's the same weight, just as light as the Sony DPT-1 was. Maybe color Eink as well at this size, because so many academic PDFs use color for figures. And remember, sure, this is no good as your bedtime reader, but that's a whole different category of device really. The Tab Ultra C doesn't make the best reader. It's chunky and it's heavy, and its best feature, for me at least, the keyboard case, makes it heavier still and awkward to carry. And although the 300 DPI black and white is nice, as a pure reader, the black and white screens are still just better. But the Tab Ultra C is the more up-to-date design out of the two. It's the more versatile. It's the more capable of more workflows, and it is the one that I would recommend to most people. It's also less expensive than the Tab X, and I actually think that it's a bargain. Eink screens are just not cheap yet. If you are looking for a way to make the choice, I would say that if you're looking for something to read A4 size books, or if you're looking for a large sketching area and are very happy with black and white, go for the Tab X. But for every other use case, go for the Tab Ultra C. So what's got the #1 spot? I think I've got this right. It's the Tab Ultra C. And honestly, there are only really 2 reasons for you not to choose one of these 2 Eink tablets right now. Do you desperately need longer battery life? Sure, I can see it. I do miss it. Using these 2 devices, you're back to charging sort of every 3 days, which was like the first Remarkable. So either one of the earlier Boox devices will still give you that great battery life, or the Scribe, or the Remarkable, or the A5X. But maybe you do need something which is focused on one task. For example, focused on reading, go for the Scribe, or for writing, go for the Supernote, or focused on notes, go for the Remarkable. Everyone else, go for a Boox. And right now, the choice is between size or color. It's as simple as that. If you need to know a little bit more about both these tablets, then here are my full reviews of them on the screen now. Let me know which one you choose and let me know how you get along with it.